Right, so this is just a quick little electronic project. My girlfriend, she's always doing her nails, and she's got this nail dust collector, and it uses this proprietary barrel jack plug thing that she can never find. So what I did is I added a USB-C port using a PD trigger module. Basically I drilled a hole right here, like a USB-C shaped, and that goes right into the 12 volt PD trigger module, which is just connected in parallel to the barrel jack, and tells the adapter to put out 12 volts. As long as the adapter is capable, doing like 15-20 watts at 12 volts, it should be fine. So like most laptop chargers or GAN chargers should be fine, as long as they can do like 1.5 to 2 amps. I also added this 12 volt switch on the side, which also connects three 18650s in series. Just basically is like a battery power mode, so if she can't find the right cord or can't find the adapter, she'll still just use it as it is. It should work for like about 20 to 40 minutes depending on the power level. But then you need a way of charging the 18650s, and I basically used a power bank module and reused one of the air vent holes on the very back here, and that basically only single charges one of the 18650s. I'll explain more in the diagram, but it uses an active balancer. Not really the safest way to do things. So as far as components, there's the 12 volt switch, which is not pictured here, and then wires and like like glue and stuff. And then what was actually charging the 12 volts, or the 3S 18650s. So that's the first object, the purple like a 3 amp power bank module. It just goes to the first 18650, and the advantage of this is you can use any like slow charger. You don't need the special laptop charger to be able to charge the device. As long as it's USB-C cord, it should work. And then for 18650s, the second item on the list, I just used cheap like $1.50 18650s from China. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to splurge for the expensive ones because the power requirements and current requirements are very high. And then the third item on the list, so I really like these active balancer boards for like quick DIY projects. The proper way of making this project would be to use a dedicated like 3S charging board, or even a 4S, and use 4 18650s, but those are like 10 times the price of the other components. So and then you'd also need a BMS for proper cell balancing, and then making sure like if something short-circuited or went wrong, that it wouldn't be an issue. Just because everything is so low powered with this application, I just use the active balancer board to basically, you unbalance the series, the 3 series 18650s by charging just the first one, but then the active balancer will kick in and bring the other two back up to be about equal. So they're just really versatile. It's like an easy way of having a series battery pack without a series capable power bank module. Not the safest way of doing things, but especially as the 18650s age, or if they're lower quality and they get unbalanced, if they would get unbalanced anyways, I don't really see the downside. You do have to add like little heat sinks. At least it's a good idea, to the active balancer and the first power bank module, the purple thing, just because I used some hot glue in there. And then for the last item on the list, the PD trigger board, that just is connected in parallel with the original barrel jack that my girlfriend could never find. So as far as the diagram, pretty simple. So it took me a while to figure out how to like get everything situated so that it wouldn't really interact with the airflow, because you don't want to introduce an occlusion or slow things down. The performance of these modules apparently is measured by how good they are at pulling in air. So I was able to tuck the first two 18650s kind of up and out of the way so they're not really blocking any air vents. And then the last one on the right, I was able to glue it to like the back of the enclosure, which doesn't really have very many vent holes. I was able to put the active balance board kind of in on its side, so it's like straight up and down, up in the corner, so that didn't really mess with airflow. And then the 5 volts, 3 amp power bank module, the purple item, I was able to reuse that, like the vent hole in the very bottom right corner of the device. So which I thought was kind of a slick way of reusing a hole without drilling one. And then the PD trigger module, there's an easy, like a convenient open place on the original control board that is basically able to, I think I used either super glue or epoxy. And yeah, the wires, you gotta make sure the wires are like routed a lot better than they are in this picture. It's just for illustration purposes. Just because if any of the wires come loose, then they could get tangled up in the fan and that would probably break everything. And then another consideration, if you do use hot glue, keep in mind that when you're doing nails, a lot of the solvents involved is like acetone base. I believe acetone can either soften or completely weaken hot glue over time, so it's a good idea to use super glue, at least, especially if the components get hot. But if you use too much super glue, that can degrade like silicone wires, which a lot of the active balancers come with, and then it can also degrade like some plastic enclosures, and then they can also cause like a residue if you use way too much super glue. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty kind of straightforward project. I kind of reused, I think his name is Soren, another YouTuber, demonstrated like the non-conventional use of the active balance board, because otherwise you'd have to get like a much more capable PCB that could charge the three 18650s correctly, instead of just using like $1 or $2 parts. So yeah, there's the just kind of demonstrating the 12 volt in from the USB-C, plugs like a laptop charger or any GAN higher power adapter, as long as it has a 12 volt mode, ideally more than like 1.5 amps capable. And then again, that's the switch. The intention of putting the 18650 charging module, the purple item, on the very bottom of the enclosure, so that's kind of like the Magic Mouse approach, the Apple approach, where I was kind of concerned about how the balancer and the charging board and everything would play together if you're also using the item and possibly it's plugged into a laptop charger at the same time, and what could happen. So by putting the charger, by putting the port on the very bottom of the enclosure, it kind of makes it impossible or impractical to use the item at the same time that you're charging the 18650s. So I imagine that's a little bit safer. Yeah. Anyways, have a good one.